The other factor that seemed to contribute the greatest distress for Christians in the study is what I call external evaluations. Internal evaluations relate to things such as how important is religion to me, how involved am I in my religion. On the other hand, external evaluations reflect how important religion is to one's family, the extent to which a person is affirmed or rejected in their sexuality by their family, and the extent to which a person is affirmed or rejected by one's religious environment. Unsurprisingly, it was individuals who fared the worst on external evaluations who consistently had the highest levels of distress. So that is, LGBT Christians who had a more rejecting church and family environments were also more psychologically distressed over their sexuality. And this one has particularly massive implications, I would think. It goes to show how important it is to actually have people in your life who love and affirm you for exactly who you are. And the really bad consequences that can arise when religious and family environments are not supportive. Being raised in environments that continually reinforce negative messages about a person's sexuality cannot be helpful for maintaining good mental health. Prejudice hurts and it does damage, especially in a religious or family context, as this study shows. Environments such as these are just downright toxic, and they have a lot to answer for. So this research is still ongoing, but just wrapping these results together to kind of get an overall idea of what's going on. It seems that merely identifying as a Christian can be a general risk factor for higher levels of distress over one's sexuality, but that this relationship is likely due to a number of more specific and underlying religious and personal factors. In particular, it appears that Christians who are more likely to be experiencing distress over their sexuality are those with a less defined sense of self who may have adopted their religious beliefs as a result of inner pressures and conflicts, rather than as a sort of volitional integration of chosen and personal values. But not only the adoption of one's own beliefs, but also the beliefs of other people appears to be very important, since perceiving one's family or religious environments as far more rejecting goes hand in hand with higher levels of distress as well. So there are lots of implications that arise from this research, but to conclude, I want to steer things back to the personal experience of toxic religion. If we haven't already, most of us will at some point encounter the effects of toxic religion in our lives. Most of us will find it painful at some level, probably end up feeling hurt, angry, maybe confused. 2 years ago, I was saved from the death trap of toxic religion. But it doesn't mean that I never come face to face with it again. Every now and then, I start to get my stomach pumped. I no longer call myself a religious teacher, but that doesn't mean I don't learn good stuff. I'm a pretty cool guy called Jesus. Because the more angry I get, or the more outcast I feel, or the more frustrated I am with the ignorance and hard-heartedness of so many in the church and elsewhere, I think the more I can identify with this radical Jesus who got pretty angry, got pretty frustrated, and was totally cast outside of the church and society at large. I can identify with the Jesus who fairly bluntly told the religious leaders that the prostitutes and tax collectors stood a far better chance of entering the kingdom of God than they did. And that's probably why I still follow him. Because when toxic religion rears its ugly head, as it likes to do a lot these days, I realise it isn't anything new under the sun. It's always been that way, and I think in Jesus is a really good model to keep standing up for what is right, even when it feels like we're standing up all alone. Whether spiritually or psychologically, if you've heard anything at all useful today, I hope that in some way it inspires all of us to keep seeking the good life, the life that is spiritually abundant, because we see it no more clearly than we do in the midst of toxic religion that Jesus really is all about life.